The human soldier stepped out of the transport shuttle, the soft hum of its engines fading into the strange golden light of the alien world. Twin suns hovered in the sky, casting long shadows over the shimmering city below. He adjusted his helmet and stared at the palace in the distance. The structure was unlike anything he had ever seen. Towers of crystal and metal intertwined with living vines that glowed faintly. This was the heart of the alien empire, and within it lived the princess who had rarely seen a human in her life. He had been sent as an envoy, not as a soldier this time, though training never left him. Orders were clear: make contact, ensure the alliance, and above all, do not insult their culture. That was easier said than done, for the moment he entered the grand chamber, nothing in his training could have prepared him for what he saw. The chamber was vast, filled with light reflecting from the polished crystal walls, and in the center, standing as though the world itself had paused for her, was the alien princess. Her body shimmered in the soft light, delicate patterns glowing on her skin. She was uncovered in the sense that no ceremonial attire veiled her form, only her presence dominating the room. Her expression froze when she saw him. Shock, surprise, and something else he could not immediately name. He froze for a moment too, aware that he had violated some protocol simply by arriving here unannounced. But the urgency of the mission pressed him forward. "I apologize," he began carefully, keeping his voice calm. "I did not intend to disturb you. I am here on urgent diplomatic orders." The princess blinked, slowly regaining composure. She straightened, the glow from her skin intensifying as if her emotions radiated outward. "A human? Inside my inner chamber?" Her voice was melodic, soft but edged with authority. "How did you come so far without permission?" He lowered his visor slightly to meet her eyes. "The situation requires immediate attention. A threat approaches your world and mine. We have little time for formalities." For a moment she studied him, the weight of her gaze pressing against his calm demeanor. Her culture was strict. Privacy and protocol were paramount. Humans were considered impulsive and reckless. Yet here he was, composed, speaking with respect, yet carrying a sense of urgency she could not ignore. "You speak boldly for a human," she said finally, her tone a mixture of curiosity and caution. "Most would hesitate. Most would cower." He gave a small nod. "Cowering doesn't save lives. I am trained to face the unexpected." Her eyes narrowed slightly, but she did not move away. Instead, she motioned for him to step forward. "Very well, human. Speak quickly. My time is valuable." He bowed slightly, a gesture of respect he hoped she would understand. "The threat comes from the neighboring system. Their fleet is large, and their weapons are unlike anything we've faced. If your people and mine do not act together, the consequences could be devastating." The princess crossed her arms, her expression shifting between skepticism and interest. "And you believe humans are capable of assisting us?" "I do," he said firmly. "Humans may not be as strong as your warriors, but we adapt. We think differently. We find solutions in ways that are unexpected." Her eyes flickered with something almost like amusement. "Unexpected, yes. But can I trust your kind? In my world, trust is earned, not assumed." He met her gaze steadily. "Then allow me to earn it. Let me show you what humanity is capable of." For a long moment, silence filled the room, broken only by the hum of the palace's energy conduits. The princess studied him, her shock fading into a quiet intrigue. He could see her mind working, calculating, considering. "You speak of alliance and protection," she said finally, her tone softer now. "Yet you have entered here without consent. You risk insult. You risk offense. Do you understand that, human?" "I do," he replied without hesitation. "And I accept that risk. The lives at stake are greater than protocol." Her gaze softened, though it did not lose its edge. "Perhaps there is courage in your kind after all." She paused, her eyes scanning him carefully. "Courage and audacity." He allowed himself a small smile. "Sometimes audacity is necessary to survive." Her lips curved slightly, though she quickly composed herself. "Very well. You may remain long enough to explain the threat in detail. But know this, my patience is not endless." He nodded, grateful for the chance. "I will be brief. I promise." The human soldier took a step closer to the central console, where holographic displays of star maps floated in the air. He tapped a few controls, bringing up the image of the enemy fleet. Ships with jagged designs, glowing weapons, and enormous scale filled the projection. "The fleet moves faster than expected," he said, Their technology is advanced but not invincible. Together, your knowledge of the region and my tactical experience could turn the tide. The princess leaned forward, her eyes tracing the lines of the enemy formations. Her expression was unreadable, yet he could feel her mind turning. Humans were strange to her world, quick, persistent, and often underestimated. Perhaps that was why he had been allowed this moment despite breaking protocol. Your plan, she said finally, is unconventional. He met her gaze. Yes, that is the point. They expect the predictable. They will not expect humans. She studied him silently for a long moment. The golden light from the twin suns glinted off her form, highlighting every detail of her expression. He felt her shock fade into something more subtle, curiosity and perhaps grudging respect. You are bold, she said softly, and brave. Not many of my kind could speak to me this way. I do not seek praise, he said. I seek results. Her gaze softened further. For a moment, they were simply two beings from different worlds, standing in the golden light of a palace, weighing trust and courage against centuries of cultural expectation. Finally, she straightened. Very well. Explain your strategy. If you fail to convince me, I will have no choice but to deny assistance. He smiled faintly, relieved. That is fair. I would expect nothing less. As he laid out his plan, detailing fleet movements, defensive positions, and coordinated strikes, the princess listened intently. Her initial shock at seeing a human in such a private moment transformed into engagement. She asked questions, challenged assumptions, and gradually the human soldier saw the walls around her mind begin to shift. Hours passed. The chamber grew darker as the twin suns lowered in the sky, casting long shadows. Yet neither of them left. They debated, analyzed, and envisioned the steps needed to prevent catastrophe. The human soldier realized something remarkable. Despite cultural differences, despite physical differences, there was a bridge between them built from respect, courage, and shared purpose. By the time he concluded, the princess stood quietly considering. You are unlike any human I have imagined, she said finally. Perhaps your kind is capable of more than I thought. He inclined his head. Then we have a beginning. For the first time, the princess allowed a small, genuine smile to grace her features. It was subtle, but the human soldier noticed. In that moment, amidst the glow of the alien palace, they were no longer merely emissary and princess. They were allies standing at the threshold of a crisis that could define both their worlds. She gestured toward the palace gates. You may stay, but remember, human, the next steps will test more than your courage. They will test your character. Do not fail. I will not, he replied, voice steady. We will succeed. Together. As he looked out at the city below, the golden light reflecting off crystal towers, he understood that this mission was bigger than him. Bigger than either of their worlds. And yet, in the unlikeliest of moments, trust had begun to form. A human and an alien princess standing on the edge of a challenge, ready to face what no one else could. And in that silent understanding, the first seeds of an extraordinary alliance were planted. The golden light of the twin suns had faded, leaving the city bathed in a soft violet glow. The palace that had seemed serene during the day now hummed with tension. The human soldier walked beside the alien princess through the corridors of the palace, each step echoing off the polished walls. He could feel the weight of the responsibility they shared. The fleet from the neighboring system was approaching faster than expected, and the first signs of danger were already appearing in the outer sectors. The princess moved with a fluid grace, her glowing skin faintly illuminating the hallway. Despite her composed appearance, there was a tension in her shoulders, a quickness in her steps that betrayed her concern. For centuries, her people had depended on tradition, protocol, and predictable patterns. Humans, she had learned, were unpredictable, and that unpredictability was both unsettling and intriguing. The human soldier glanced at her. The enemy ships will enter your system within the next few hours. We need to move quickly to prepare defenses. She nodded, eyes scanning the palace's strategic displays. I trust your judgment. But you must understand, my people are not trained in human tactics. They follow orders, yes, but improvisation is not common. Then we improvise together, he said. Your knowledge of this world combined with my tactics gives us a chance. They reached the palace's secret spaceport, a sprawling structure hidden beneath the central tower. Bioluminescent lights traced the contours of the ships docked there, casting a soft glow that reflected off the smooth metal floors. The human soldier studied the ships and their layout, noting points of strength and potential weakness. "These ships are beautiful," he said, "but they're too centralized. If we can disrupt their formation early, we can turn their strength into a vulnerability." The princess studied him carefully. "You suggest a direct engagement?" "Not direct," he corrected. "Calculated. We draw them into positions where their weapons are less effective and use your fleet's speed to our advantage. It's about controlling the battlefield." She studied the tactical projection he had laid out. His plan was bold, unconventional, and risky. But it was exactly the kind of thinking her own people often lacked. "I see, your approach is not without danger. But I admit, it may be what is needed." A loud alarm suddenly echoed through the spaceport. Red lights flashed as sensors detected incoming enemy ships. The princess's hand went to a control panel, activating defensive protocols. Ships lifted from their docking bays, engines glowing, ready for battle. The human soldier ran alongside her, giving quick instructions. "Your fighters should take the outer ring. Draw them in. I'll handle interception for the inner approach." Her eyes flickered with concern, but she trusted his judgment. "Do not underestimate them," she warned. "I never do," he replied. The enemy fleet emerged from the asteroid belt, dark ships contrasting sharply against the violet sky. They moved in perfect formation, weapons charging, aiming to overwhelm the defenses of the palace. The human soldier observed their approach, noting the gaps in their formation. "Now!" he shouted, and the princess's fleet sprang into action. The battle was immediate. Alien ships darted between asteroids, firing energy beams that tore through empty space. The human soldier directed a small squadron of defenders, using maneuvers he had trained for on Earth. Though the alien ships were faster and more numerous, his strategies exploited their blind spots and predictable firing sequences. The princess watched from the command center, giving orders with precision, yet allowing him to coordinate tactics. Every time the enemy shifted, he adjusted, finding a way to turn their aggression against them. Her initial skepticism transformed into admiration. Humans may not have the same history of warfare as her people, but their adaptability, quick thinking, and courage were unmatched. An enemy cruiser broke formation, aiming directly for the palace. The human soldier called out instructions, guiding a group of fighters to intercept it. "Focus fire on the engines! Disable their mobility." Within minutes, the cruiser slowed, spinning out of control before it could reach the palace. The princess's eyes widened in surprise. "That was brilliant. I did not expect such efficiency." "It's not brilliance," he said. "It's preparation, observation, and adaptation. Human strengths." The princess allowed herself a small smile. For the first time, she felt a genuine respect for this being from another world. She realized that her initial shock at seeing him in her private chambers was nothing compared to the shock of seeing humans' capabilities firsthand. The battle raged on. The enemy adjusted, targeting the outer defenses with greater intensity. The human soldier coordinated strikes, sometimes taking personal control of a fighter ship to guide it into critical positions. He moved through the chaos with calm determination, issuing orders and executing maneuvers with precision. The princess saw the courage in every decision, the intelligence behind every choice, and the selflessness that guided him. During a brief lull, the human soldier returned to the command center. "They're regrouping, likely to make another attempt through the asteroid field," he reported. The princess nodded. "Then we must anticipate their moves. We cannot rely on reaction alone." Together, they studied the enemy fleet's patterns. Using a combination of her people's speed and his tactics, they predicted the next strike. "We'll set a trap," he said. "Draw them into the narrow passage between asteroids. Their numbers become a liability there. Your ships can strike from above and below." She agreed, and the plan was executed flawlessly. Enemy ships streamed into the trap, unable to maneuver effectively in the confined space. Energy beams from the alien fleet struck with devastating precision, disabling multiple cruisers before they could react. The human soldier piloted a small interceptor, guiding it to cut off the remaining escape routes. The princess watched in amazement. "Your methods, they are unorthodox. Yet they work. Perhaps humans are underestimated." He landed back at the spaceport, removing his helmet. Sweat dampened his brow, but his eyes remained steady. Sometimes what is predictable becomes a weakness. Humans exploit that. We adapt, we endure, and we find ways to survive. She studied him carefully. For the first time, the wall of protocol and formality that had separated them seemed unnecessary. You have proven more than your words, she said softly. You have shown courage, skill, and understanding. I underestimated you. I see now that humans are remarkable. He gave a small nod. I am glad you see that. But this victory is not mine alone. Your people fought bravely too. Without your fleet, none of this would have been possible. Her gaze softened. She realized that true leadership was not about standing alone, but about trust, coordination, and respect. Humans had a different kind of bravery, one that came from ingenuity and heart, not just tradition and strength. As the last of the enemy ships retreated, the princess walked beside him through the quiet spaceport. The air smelled of scorched energy and ozone, but there was a sense of calm now, a sense of achievement. She stopped and looked at him, her expression sincere. Human, I owe you thanks, not just for your help, but for showing me the value of your kind. I will not forget this, he shook his head. No thanks needed. I only did what was necessary. Your people's safety comes first, she smiled faintly. Perhaps it is time for humans and my people to see each other not as strangers but as allies. I would welcome that, he said. There is much we can learn from each other. She studied him silently, the glow from her skin reflecting the soft light of the twin moons now rising over the city. In her mind, she acknowledged a shift, a realization that the courage, intelligence, and adaptability of humans could not be measured by appearance alone. Then let this be a beginning, she said finally. A beginning of trust, understanding, and partnership. The human soldier nodded. A beginning. They stood side by side, looking out over the palace and the city beyond. The battle was over, but the work ahead would define the future, and in that quiet moment, two beings from vastly different worlds shared a connection built not on protocol or ceremony, but on courage, respect, and shared purpose. The princess turned to him, her expression thoughtful. I will recommend you join my inner council. Your insight, your bravery, they are rare. Perhaps humanity's role in the galaxy is greater than I imagined. He felt a sense of humility and honor. I accept. But only if it serves both our worlds, she nodded. It will. Together we will face the challenges ahead. And together we will show that courage and intelligence know no boundaries of species or star systems. The human soldier and the alien princess stood in the glow of the palace, the golden and violet lights mingling around them. Outside, the stars shone bright, and for the first time, the two worlds seemed connected, not just by treaties or necessity, but by mutual respect and trust, and in that connection, the first seeds of an extraordinary alliance were fully realized, promising a future where humans and aliens could face the galaxy's challenges together, stronger for having recognized the value in one another. The night was calm, but the promise of new adventures hung in the air, and both the human soldier and the alien princess knew that this was only the beginning of a story that would be told for generations.